So the topic that I wanted to bring to you guys today is to, instead of focusing on the program, because there's so many lenders now that have so many really cool programs, I really want to focus on the client experience, because it's very different for a construction loan than it is for a regular purchase. I see a lot of clients that come to me and that are like, well, I was pre-approved to purchase a home, it's my first time, I just want to build it because that's going to be cheaper for me, I'm going to get what I want, which is a great reason to want to build a home if you can, if you've already found a builder who will do it. Right now, of course, we know, not the same as it was a few years ago. A few years ago, absolutely, it's going to be cheaper to build. Right now, it's pretty on par. But the thing that they don't understand when they switch from a purchase to a construction is that the process is not the same. There's so many more things that are going to change along the way. The fees are going to change, the budget's going to change, the appraisal might change things. And it's not the same as a typical purchase. So as loan officers or as title officers or whatever role we play in this process, we need to attack it a little bit differently, because if we just keep giving them the same expectations we do for a purchase, they might end up not understanding the process, or you'll have a lot more back and forth. So the thing with construction loans, whenever you have a client who's interested in construction, you really want to sit down with them. If you offer it, or if you're going to be referring it to someone else, you want to sit down with them and figure out what their goals are and make sure to set those expectations up front. For example, at WaFd Bank, ours is all a conventional product. We keep everything in-house. We go up to 80% loan to value, so it's a pretty standard loan product. A lot of people think, oh, that's easy. That's a really normal loan, especially people who bought houses many, many times. They think it's very easy, but it's not. The process with us is that you get approved first for the dollar amount, and that's a little bit different. So based on the budget, you might not have a contract with a builder yet, so you might just have that budget in your head about, oh, I want it to be $750,000, but I've not talked to anyone yet. I don't know if that's reasonable. So you first have to get credit approved for that amount. You have to figure out if you can afford what you're looking for. And then you need to go, if you don't already have a builder, you need to go start making those calls. Now you're credit approved, you can make those deposits, you can figure out what your budget is going to be, and the borrower has to be prepared. We're going to need to rerun those numbers based on what that actual contract is. Before we even go to ordering the appraisal, we want to make sure everything still works. So you're going to have maybe 2, 3, 4 times potentially where you're rerunning those numbers for them. They're getting different closing costs. They're getting different cash to close, different payment amounts. And you need to know why, and you also need to prepare them for that in the beginning so that they're not confused and frustrated and want to drop it all at the end. I can't tell you how many times I've seen clients who just want to quit by the end because they don't feel like they got it what they needed the way through. Sometimes it's with us because sometimes we don't realize that they needed a little bit more. So over the years, that's the one thing I've really learned and really worked on, is that the clients need to be held their hand a little bit longer throughout that process. It's our jobs to be the experts. So even though we're not the appraisers, we're not the underwriters, we're not the builders, we're not any of those things, we're not the title company if we're not, maybe you're not the lender, but you know your role and you need to walk them through what your role is going to be and what they need to expect so that they understand that process a little bit better than a purchase. It's always good to do this for purchases too, but constructions really need that extra touch. And I can tell you from experience that if you give your clients that extra touch, you offer those referrals, you offer those resources, you tell them about BART and the BIA, you tell them about Chicago Title and what they're doing, you tell them about Evergreen and their amazing loan programs, or WaFds maybe. You tell them all those things that are available to them, and they will have a much smoother process, and they will almost guaranteed come back to you in the future. They'll be a lot happier. So in terms of WaFd's products, in case anyone is interested in working with us, we offer construction for primary residences, second homes, and investment properties. We have a prepayment penalty for our investment properties, but none for the others. Ours is an all-in-one close, so it's a one-time close, just like Evergreen's as well. We close on it when we purchase the land, and with us, we have to have everything, including permits, in hand before we start building. So with our program, that's because permits can sometimes be a little bit unpredictable depending on the county, depending on the builder. I have a couple files right now, for example, that have had to be extended 1 or 2 months from final approval because those permits just aren't ready yet. And that's something you need to prepare those clients for too, especially in a high interest rate environment. If you have borrowers who are locking their rates, you make sure that you're keeping that in mind too, because permits are something that is a little bit unpredictable. But by us having those resources and that knowledge, we can know what the counties we operate in, what their turn times are right now. That's kind of our job as loan officers. Even though it's not our job, it is our job to be able to advise our clients or to point them to the right direction. So the biggest thing that I think is the most important for construction is going to be that client experience for sure.
Amen.
So can I share something about Oregon versus Washington
Yes.
for construction? So just remember that in Oregon, we have early